Imagine this. You wake up to a letter taped to your front door. It's not a friendly note from a neighbor, not a package delivery slip. No, it's a notice from your HOA, a fine. And not just a couple $100. Not a couple thousand either. The number staring back at me nearly made my heart stop. $250,000. That's right. The HOA fined me $250,000 for so-called violations on my own property. Now, you might be wondering, what kind of crime could possibly justify a fine that big? Did I knock down a school? Did I burn down a park? No. According to them, my fence was too high, my barn didn't meet their community standards, and my livestock was a violation of neighborhood aesthetics. Basically, they wanted to erase my lifestyle, my heritage, and everything my family built on this land. But here's what they didn't know. I had a secret so big it would flip their entire world upside down. A secret that would turn the HOA from my enemy into my tenants. You see, this land isn't just some random property I bought. It's been in my family for generations. My grandfather purchased it decades ago when this entire area was nothing but dirt roads and farmland. Nobody wanted it back then. It was considered worthless. But my grandfather, he was a smart man. He saw potential where others saw nothing. As the years passed, developers came. Houses were built. Streets were paved. And little by little, my grandfather's land became the foundation of a suburban neighborhood. Eventually, an HOA was formed. They made rules, collected fees, and controlled the community. At least, that's what they thought. But what they didn't realize was buried in an old wooden chest in my attic, the original deed. A deed that proved the land beneath their homes, their streets, their clubhouse still belonged to my family. Now, when I got that $250,000 fine, I didn't rush to respond. No, I let them think they had the upper hand. They sent me threatening letters. They bragged at meetings about how they'd teach me a lesson. They thought they had me cornered. But while they were celebrating, I was digging up the truth. I pulled out that deed, dusted it off, and there it was, the golden ticket. Every plot line, every street, every house marked, all sitting on land owned by me. And that's when it hit me. They weren't just harassing me. They were standing on ground I owned. The day of the HOA meeting came. The room was packed. Everyone knew about my so-called violations. The president, a smug woman named Dolores, stood up front with a grin on her face. She held the fine papers like a trophy. "We are fining you $250,000, she said proudly. "And if you don't pay within 30 days, we will pursue foreclosure." The crowd murmured. Some nodded in agreement. They thought I was finished. But I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I was calm. Because I knew something they didn't. I stood up, holding a folder in my hand. All eyes were on me. Instead of yelling, instead of begging, I simply walked to the front and laid my papers on the table. "I will not be paying your fine," I said, "because this neighborhood is mine." The room fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. I opened the folder and spread out the deed. The original. Signed. Sealed. Legal. Every detail was there. "These homes," I said, pointing at the map. "These streets. Even your precious clubhouse. They all sit on my family's land. Which means, technically, you're all my tenants." Dolores's face turned pale. The smug grin disappeared. Her allies shifted uncomfortably. Neighbors began whispering. For years, they believed the HOA had all the power. But in that moment, the truth was undeniable. They scrambled, of course. They claimed the deed was outdated. They argued that laws had changed. But no matter how they twisted and turned, the facts stood strong. My grandfather had secured rights that were still valid to this very day. So instead of me owing them $250,000, suddenly, they owed me. I had the right to charge easement fees. I had the right to collect rent for the clubhouse. Even the very roads they drove on each day were legally under my ownership. The law wasn't on their side. The law was on mine. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood. People who once mocked me now showed up at my door with apologies. Board members who once threatened me now begged me to be reasonable. And Dolores? She resigned within a week. Couldn't handle the shame. Now, here's the part you might find surprising. I didn't immediately start charging them rent or collecting fees. No, all I asked for was peace. I told them, "Leave me alone. No more letters. No more fines. No more threats. Because if you try this again, I'll remind you exactly who owns this place." And just like that, the HOA that once tried to crush me was reduced to silence. So yes, The HOA tried to fine me $250,000.